The city of Surprise is a great city. There's a lot of great reasons for people to move to it, and most of the people moving to it are probably coming from out of state or don't live in Surprise already because it's a really popular spot for first-time buyers, just due to its price range. So not a lot of people have necessarily grown up in Surprise because it's a younger city, and so that's why I wanted to give you a breakdown. This can be a map tour of everything about Surprise. So what are the different areas? Where are the main things to do? Where are the different communities? It's going to be a full tour of everything you need to know about the city of Surprise, basically, and where maybe it could be a good spot for you to live. So the first half is just going to be a general, like, this is where the main things are when it comes to things to do, restaurants, shopping. And the back half is going to be like the different neighborhoods and where are the ones I recommend. All that good stuff we are going to talk about in this video. My name is Trevor Bragg. I'm here to give you everything you need to know about living in Phoenix, and we're talking about Surprise today. I have this free moving to Phoenix guide, so if you're coming from out of state and want to know what I wish I knew before I moved to Phoenix, feel free to reach out to me, my email number on the screen, and I'll get you that free guide to your inbox. All right, so let's pull up a map of the city of Surprise. We're going to be looking at this pretty much the whole time. Hopefully you can see my cursor as we go through it because that's what I'm going to be basing it off for the most part. So this is your whole outlay. So a few just off the bat points for you to look at. This is Phoenix over here. This is Central Phoenix, and then you have the West Valley, pretty much everything to the west of the 17. East Valley is everything east of the 51. And so this is pretty far West Valley. There's really not anything over here further west than Surprise. You have Buckeye down here, but it's the farthest west city in Phoenix. And just a few small notes. So this is this outline, and Phoenix area loves to have weird outlines for their cities. But you see there's like a square right here and a square right here. These are actually called county islands. So they're not actually owned by the city of Surprise. They're owned by the county. So they actually have some tax benefits, and you can actually be a little more lenient on what you can do with your property. But then you have to use the county services such as police and fire. There was a law where if something major happens, like your house burning down, Surprise Fire will step in until county gets there. But it's not ideal for that, but it's ideal for the tax and the leniencies on what you can do with your property. Okay, so the city of Surprise. So the first thing I want to look at is what are the main things to do in Surprise. And so let's take a look right here. So we'll zoom out. Surprise Community Park, get off that. This is pretty much, if you could say, a downtown of Surprise. So the main thing, you have Surprise Baseball Stadium, which if you pull it up, that is where the Rangers and Royals play their spring training games. And that's kind of like the thing that kind of put Surprise on the map a little bit. I mean, it had communities and stuff, but that was the first big thing to happen in Surprise, was to get a spring training field. And if you don't know, spring training is a huge revenue source for the Phoenix area. That's where tons of people come here and watch all the baseball games. And so to have one in Surprise, really good sign for Surprise for their revenue and just what the city's going to be doing in the long run. And so it's a really nice area over there. They constantly have baseball tournaments, baseball practices, all that good stuff. Ottawa University is right over here as well. So they have tons of stuff going on at that stadium almost year round. Right next to it, so like I said, this is like the hub of Surprise for the most part. Surprise Aquatic Center, ginormous aquatic center with all these different, like there's tons of lap pools, but then there's also like a fun area for kids where they have like a water park type of thing, where they got, things, water falling on their heads and good stuff like that, mini jungle gym. And then there's Surprise Community Park right here as well, which is a really big park. There's a lake in the middle that you can actually fish in, so you can see that lake right here. A really nice walking path around it. There's always dogs there and stuff. They got a nice park, and there's also a library right here, which they're not pulling up. There it is. There's a really big library right there as well. Dog park over here, Dreamcatcher Park. So they have they have a baseball field, and it's for special needs, so pretty cool thing they have there. And then lastly is the Surprise Tennis and Racket Complex. And this actually is a really big deal for Surprise also because similar to the Surprise spring training fields, there are tons and tons of tennis tournaments, pickleball tournaments, anything to do with a racket court. They have tons of tournaments there because they have like over 22 courts. Actually, probably more than that now. Tons of courts over there in Surprise when it comes to tennis and racquetball, tennis and pickleball. And that's actually like there are major tournaments that happen there nationally. Like they have national tournaments for ranked tennis players, for ranked pickleball players. They have them right there. So this is kind of your hub. And right around here is your main street. So Bell Road, if you don't know, Bell Road runs all the way across. That line I'm following, that is Bell Road. And there are pretty much only businesses and restaurants along that road. Same thing in Surprise. And really, that is where all of your restaurants are going to be, are up on Bell Road. So you can just see some of them popping up like Chick-fil-A, Dutch Bros, all that stuff. But then you're also going to have actual sit-down restaurants like Longhorse Steakhouse, the Rio Mirage Cafe, restaurant and pub right there. And then also over here, there's kind of another central area, the bonfire. Oh, I just got kicked out by this MMA, but there's a bonfire place right there that's pretty good. Babbo Italian Eatery is popular. So Bell Road is going to be your main place for restaurants, like where you're going to go out to eat. It's probably going to be right there in the city of Surprise. Now next we have the village of Prasada. So this is not in yet. This is a mall that is coming that's almost done. It's supposed to be done early 2023. They have it all rented out, but I don't believe it's officially opened just yet. And it is going to be right in this corner, right around here. It is a giant outdoor-ish mall. And so it's going to be, I think it's going to look a lot like Tempe Marketplace, where it's outdoor, but they should have like tons of covering and stuff, so you're not baking in the heat when it's 120 degrees. But right this corner right here is where they're going to be. And there are going to be tons of shops, tons of restaurants, tons of things to do. And that's going to be, I think, the new hub for Surprise. It's a little odd because it's kind of on the outskirts, like the 303. There's not a ton happening over here past the 303. Most of Surprise is considered in here. So it's a little on the outskirts and obviously not going towards the city at all. But I think it's going to be huge for Surprise to get a movie theater, to get some new restaurants. They're going to have new modern restaurants going there, which I think Surprise is really missing, is some of that modern restaurant, bars, things to do, stuff like that. There's not a lot of that on Bell Road. So to get some new modern stuff over at Prasada is going to be a really good bonus. Okay, so now some of the layout of the rest of the city. Those are kind of your main things to do. And some of the other layouts that you should know. So pretty much Bell Road and North is going to be 55 plus communities. So this is actually all 55 plus as well. And north of here is going to be 55 plus. So this kind of triangle I'm drawing right here. And there are little pockets that are going to be not 55 plus, but in general, it's going to be. And so what communities do you have? You have Sun City Grand right here, which also tails all the way over here. Arizona Traditions right here, and then Sun Village right here. So those are the three main 55 plus communities. Sun Village is much smaller, obviously, extremely well kept. Sun City Grand is an extension of Sun City West and Sun City. And then Arizona Traditions is its own thing that's guard gated. It's got a golf course. Obviously, they have golf courses. But Sun City Grand being the largest one in Surprise. And some people consider Sun City West part of Surprise, but it's actually its own city. It's called Sun City West. And then also way over here is going to be Sun City Festival. So just your last 55 plus community. There's also an all age community over here as well in Sun City Festival. And it's some of it's Buckeye, but yeah, look, a little creeps of it is going to be in Surprise as well. So those are your 55 plus communities, and then a few other communities just to highlight while we're here. Some of my more favorite communities, and I think the more desired communities, are going to be Marley Park. It's just known for its name, and as you drive through it, it's unique. It's got, you know, tree-lined streets. It's very well kept. It's very green in there. They have a huge park, Marley Park. Down inside there, they have a school. It's a really well kept, well created community. It's designed for families, obviously, with the park. They have like a pool and a rec center, all this stuff for the community. So it's a good spot over there. Surprise Farms over here. These are a little bit higher end of homes. They're pretty nice, and they have their own shopping center and stuff. It's a little far west, but it's much quieter than really any of the other communities because there's pretty much nothing to the west, and you got some better views of the White Tank Mountains, which I haven't mentioned yet. And these are the White Tank Mountains. They're hard to miss when you're out there. They're bigger than what this map shows. They stick up pretty tall, and they're really cool to look at. They're good views. If you're going to have a view in Surprise, it's probably going to be of the White Tank Mountains because they're pretty mountains to look at. And we don't have a ton of great views in Phoenix just because our only view is probably going to be either desert or mountains. So the White Tank Mountains are nice. You can do some hiking over there. You can camp. White Tank Mountains are a big plus to Surprise. Even though it's not technically in Surprise, you're so close to it. It's, you know, considered close enough to get the benefits of it. And I guess while we're on the topic, up here is Lake Pleasant, which is the closest lake to the Phoenix area. Just look around. There's really nothing nearly that size that you can do. So you can do anything you want to on a lake there, you know, boating, jet skiing, go swimming. They have a huge water slide, all that good stuff. And you're actually pretty close to it in Surprise. If you just take the 303, you could probably get there in 25 minutes to get up to a lake. So some communities we just talked about: Surprise Farms, Marley Park, and now a luxury community that is still being built is Sterling Grove, which is right over here. It's going to be right across the street from Prasada once it's in. That's an extremely high-end community with a luxury style golf course. Those are some really big homes, and that's going to be a new feature that Surprise hasn't really seen before, is a luxury community. They have really great residential communities, mostly set up for first-time buyers though, so people aren't looking for a $900,000 house when they're a first-time buyer. They're looking for a $350,000 house. And that tends to be surprises like that's their gold spot is $350 to $450. You're probably getting the best house in that price range in the whole Phoenix area in Surprise. So that's what most of their communities have been tailored around, but now we're starting to see a luxury community such as Sterling Grove pop up, and it's very well done. I've been through this community. I have a video on it if you want to check it out. It's extremely nice. You're near the White Tank Mountains. A lot of homes are near or on the golf course, so very nice community that we haven't seen in Surprise just yet. And then lastly, there are some new builds going up all up and down this area over here. There's tons of new builds going on. That's where builders are able to buy land. That's their biggest issue right now is where could they buy land back in 2020 and 2021, and that's where they were hitting. And Asante community is a great one over here. There is some 55 plus and also some all age over near Asante. And then North Copper Canyon is a more affordable all age community where you can find some homes in the 300s and the low 400s for new builds. Greer Ranch and Desert Oasis are a few other communities that I might recommend as well that I've just been through that are nice, that are well kept. But like I said, they're all somewhat similar and tend to be very nice. And so you'll see that even if you ever go looking for homes. And so this is kind of a map tour of Surprise. There's not a ton to break down because Surprise is smaller and there's not a ton of things to do in Surprise if you're catching that. But there also are some really nice homes, and there's some things that point to Surprise having a bright future. Having a large mall go in is a big deal. Having a luxury community is a big deal. Bring some more revenue to the area. And they're constantly trying to upgrade this area around where the ballpark is because it's their main hub for basically revenue for the city, and that's where any tourists are going to come. They're probably going to want to go to somewhere in this area, whether it be the racquet courts, whether it be Surprise Stadium. It's probably going to be near there. The thing about Surprise is that the communities, there really aren't any bad communities that I've necessarily come across. Whether it be the 55 plus communities, they're all very well kept and they're all very highly rated by the people that live there. And same with the communities in Surprise. So this is kind of the weird thing about Surprise where it's like, you know, what community should I live in? Well, yes, Marley Park, Surprise Farms, they're kind of the more well-known ones, the larger ones, really highly recommended. But the community down the street from it, it may not have as high-end of amenities as maybe Marley Park does when it comes to their community center. But like the actual landscape, the type of home, the age of home, the modernness of the inside with a more open floor plan, and how well kept the community is, there's not a huge discrepancy between the two. Whereas in some of the other communities, like El Mirage, right across the street from it, there are some well-kept master planned communities, and there's also some no HOA areas that are pretty run down and pretty old in El Mirage. You don't see a lot of that in Surprise. Most of the communities are newer, like 1990s or newer, and most of them even 2000s and up, so they're going to be more modern and more well kept, and they're all going to have some form of HOA for the most part, and usually like $50 to $75. Pretty low, and mostly just to keep the area maintained, which in the long run is going to help the value of your home versus a no HOA area where someone could, you know, not take care of their home next to you. A home buyer comes in and wants to buy your home, but they see the neighbor's doing a bad job. It hurts the value of your home. So an HOA, in my opinion, especially if it's low, I know people don't love adhering to all their rules. It will probably help your home value in the long run, and Surprise has a lot of those to offer. And then also, you're seeing this also, the CCV of Surprise. So that's a ginormous church over there. It's hard to miss. Yeah, that's what their largest church in Surprise is CCV. There's quite a few campuses of CCV around the area, but it is a big part of Surprise, so I want to mention that. That's a breakdown of the city Surprise. I highly recommend it, and if this is your first time learning anything about it or wanted to move here and just wanted to get a feel for what the map breakdown is, I'm happy you watched. If you need any help moving to Phoenix, feel free to reach out to me. My number and email are on the screen, and if you want that free Moving to Phoenix guide, reach out to me also. I'll send that over to you for free. Thanks so much for watching, and stay tuned for more videos like this.